Hey guys, hey everyone, how are we doing? I hope this all finds you very, very well. Something I really want to share with you guys. But firstly, those of you in the UK have probably really noticed that sense, especially within the last few days, um, that autumn is firmly knocking on the door. For some time now, I've been noticing the horse chestnuts, the acorns are dropping. If you kind of look a little bit closely within the leaves, there's a change in colour beginning to creep in, and most importantly, the nights are beginning to really kind of draw in. The days are really beginning to draw in. Autumn is firmly knocking on the door. So guys, what I really want to share with you is a story that hopefully talks to you in many ways, on many levels. You would have seen the picture there of the gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful motorbike, yellow motorbike, aka Yellow Peril. So what I really want to share with you is a bit about my experience with that, and kind of what I've taken from it. What I've kind of really absorbed from it is that bike was parked up around about 8 years ago, and I can really remember very clearly the day that I parked it up because of the experience I had. So at the time I was housing it in a garage, and I remember pulling into this garage, and I'd always jump off the bike, and kind of go about my business. Pulled into the garage, as always, and went to jump off the bike, and I couldn't. My whole leg, down one side, was completely locked. It had become so tight that I was unable to pull myself up over the saddle and jump off the bike. And I can remember sitting there really kind of distressed and really trying really hard to get off, and just swing my leg over, grab the handlebars and swing my leg over, as I've always done. Those of you that know me very well will know that I'm a very strong-willed, I'm a very determined person, probably a little bit stubborn, to be honest with you, at times. But there's a kind of drive and a determination. I'm not someone that gives up or gives in easily. So I found myself sitting there really distressed that I couldn't get off the bike, and I literally kind of felt stuck, and I sat there, and I just broke down, hugely emotional, and had the most powerful of realizations that actually this hasn't just happened. So this situation hasn't just happened. These situations don't just happen overnight, okay? So they never happen overnight. They don't just happen. It's something that actually is happening underneath the surface. It's something that's unraveling normally at that level over a longer period of time. And actually, a deeper self, our body, everything is trying to tell us, everything's sending us signals, everything's sending us messages for something to be addressed, to be looked at. But actually, what I was doing was pushing it to one side, being very strong-willed, very determined about that there isn't a problem. So actually, in a way, I was avoiding it. Many of you would have seen the video that I'd done some few weeks back on avoidance. Actually looking at those things that you're avoiding head on. Tackling them head on, because all of this I share with you comes from a place of direct experience, personal experience, from my own experiences. These things never just happen. So it's not just like I woke up one day, rode the bike, I was unable to get off it. Actually, that had been happening over a longer period of time, and I was pushing it away, I was avoiding it, I was in a form of denial. And that's exactly what had come up for me, that the AS absolutely was giving me a good old beating, because I was not looking at it, I wasn't addressing it, I was pretending it wasn't happening to me, and I was pushing it away, and actually I was fighting it at that time. I think that one of the greatest things that have enabled me to transform so much of this situation and the condition I find myself in to be able to do what I do, and many of you know what I do through the page, is that I started to embrace it. I become friends with it rather than battle it and fight it. Okay. And that's the important thing, is those things that are going on, they're asking to be embraced. They're asking to be held and nurtured, to be looked at, to kind of be seen, to be met eye to eye. So I sat there and I kind of, just literally broke down. And those of you that, would have experienced, an emotional kind of release or cried that hard, you'll understand that afterwards comes this sense of peace, this sense of feeling lighter, this sense of almost relief. And for me, I knew that it was going to be the last time I rode the bike, but within that experience, I knew that the gift that I could take from it was to actually look at this, to absolutely the first time stop, look at this, look at what it's trying to show me, look at what it's trying to tell me, look at what it's trying to teach me, and begin to heal it. Which I feel is really, really important, that these things that are coming up, they're asked to be looked at, they're being asked to be noticed, they're being asked to be healed. And I think that, that doesn't stop it within our lives. Even for me right now, there's so much that is stirring up. We're always in change, we're always in transformation, we're always in transition in one form or another. It's just enabling us to look at it and understand it and kind of extract the gold from it. So I did, I kind of went, right, okay, so this is going to be the last time I ride this bike. The gift is that I need to face this now, and I need to begin to heal it. And actually, with that kind of realization, I felt a lot lighter, and I was able to get off the bike, which I find to this day very interesting. So, put the keys on the key holder. Shortly after that, I went for a big change. Lots happened within my world, and the bike was moved, and it was parked up with family, and it sat there, and it sat there, and it sat there, and the years went by because I wasn't ready at that particular time to say goodbye to it. I wasn't at that time ready to let go of it and let go of what it stood for, because it was a symbol in so many ways, and as you look at it, you'll understand that. And I held on to it and held on to it, and over the time, Sarah and I and Dad, we cleaned the bike. It's time to kind of move it on, and I never kind of initiated that further. So it kind of sat there and it sat there. And then, Sarah and Dad said to me, maybe it's time. And at the same time, Matt said to me, come on, let's go and dig it out. Let's go and dig it out. So I really want to, at this moment, is to thank Matt, to thank Dean, to thank Sarah, to thank Dad, because actually all of their input together really initiated a huge change and transformation. It has really kind of turned the whole situation around, but also enabled so many other things, very, very important things to happen, which I'm going to share with you guys. So we went round there, and she was in a sorry state. The weather, kind of needed a good old clean, and there was kind of stuff around her, and we literally dug her out. And I knew then, right, okay, we need to move her, and we did. And at which point I really, really want to thank Dean, because you know what, strength of kind of lifting that bike up. It's really interesting that the right people just come together to initiate things sometimes. We literally got her moved within a short amount of time. Me, Dad, Sarah gave her a good old clean, and then someone appeared who wanted the bike. and completely transform that whole experience, especially with what he wants to do with the bike and his story. That turned that situation into a really positive experience. And seeing his little boy sitting on the bike and him taking some photographs, I knew the bike was going into the right hands and into really good hands. And the bike went. But what happened is the bike going, the kind of funds from that, if you like, absolutely have enabled me now to go on to ride the Transatlantic Way bike race next year round Ireland, the whole of Ireland. And now what's really, really interesting is that for many, many, many years I've wanted to go and visit Ireland, and Sarah's always said, we should go to Ireland, have the most amazing experience, and we never did. We never done it. And time's gone by and years have gone by and we've never ever done it. And now the first time I'm going to be riding round it, pretty much over it, through it. Starting off in Dublin, all the way up to Derry, Northern Ireland, onto the west coast, the west coast, and all the way down, all the way round, following the Transatlantic Way, the Wild Atlantic Way, all the way down, down to Cork, and then a little bit further. We're looking at 1,500 miles, in around, well, who says, but in around maybe 10 days, a little bit more. So you're averaging a good few miles a day, yeah? Amazing experience. And what I really, really, really take from that is that from something I couldn't do, and it becomes something that was really, really hard at the time to digest, has now been transformed, enabling me something that I absolutely can do. All gonna have a really, really good crack at it. And beautifully so. One of the things about going to Ireland is that the story has it that my granddad on my mum's side, so many of you would have known about the experience that I had when I was a child with the lady coming through, appearing at the end of the bed when I was 7 years old, is that her husband, my granddad, aka Patrick Burns, lived behind the Guinness factory in Dublin. And only yesterday do I find out through one of the guys that's rode the race, the briefing last year was behind or stone throw away from the Guinness factory in Dublin. So I just think, beautiful, absolutely beautiful to be able to kind of, transform the bike at that level, be able to enable me to support this trip, and it's kind of starts not far from the Guinness factory. I think that's just really, really cool, and very special. So, really what I'm trying to get across is that quite often the things that kind of come up in our lives, they don't just happen. That there's an undercurrent that's been happening for some time, but also it's about when the change is right, the change comes, and normally when it absolutely is right, there's a lot can support it. I Matt going one day just randomly, right, I just know that we need to kind of get that bike shifted for you. And it had been sitting there for years, and then Dad and Sarah, and then Dean, bless his heart, absolutely making that happen by lifting that huge bike. Really, really gratitude to those guys. And then, to find out a story about Granddad and, being able to kind of go on this amazing adventure. So riding in a team with Matt, Sarah's riding as a solo female in the women's category, but we're looking at 1,500 miles all the way around Ireland next June. So over the next few months, there's going to be some videos about kind of sharing the story together, and how that all kind of unravels, and part of the experience, which, you know, I often say is that change through movement and transformation through movement, and in many ways we're going to be capturing so much of that. So a little bit of a long video today, but I hope you can take some goodness from it. And as I say, you know, the most amazing things can happen when we also trust and we also allow them to. And sometimes it aligns. And I know that in the background, maybe Paddy, and maybe my grandmother, and my dear mum have been nudging to make this possible, because for many years I'm like, I'm going to go to Ireland. And I just think that's really, really magical. So thanks, guys. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Dean, Sarah, and Dad, for all your love and all your energy and all your support. And yeah, it's going to be a fantastic, fantastic experience. Cheers, guys. See you all soon. Bye-bye. Bye.